had walked into her engagement party in front of everyone holding a single brown envelope. And inside it, the truth he had spent his whole life running from. The room went dead silent. Bankole was the first to laugh. "Who let this hawker in?" he said. "Somebody throw him out before he embarrasses himself." But David did not raise his voice. He did not shout. He simply walked to the center of the room and he opened the envelope. Inside were documents. Old company records from years ago. The very fraud that had ruined his father and stolen everything. And on every single page was Chief Bankole's signature. Amara took the papers with shaking hands. She read the name at the bottom. Then she slowly looked up at the man her mother had chosen for her. A gasp moved through the hall like wind through dry grass. The whispering started, the pointing started. And then David played the recording. A phone call from the very night he was robbed. Bankole's own voice, clear as day. "Make sure the boy is left with nothing." Behind him, Chindu held the speaker high above his head and took a slow, proud bow. A bow he had absolutely not earned, but one he absolutely deserved. And just like that, the whole room turned. Not on the hawker in his ordinary clothes, but on the great chief in his expensive egbata. Bankole tried to talk. He could always talk, but there are some rooms in this life that even 3 phones and 2 houses cannot save you from. He left that night in disgrace. Quietly through a side door, and every one of his important friends and all their matching owambe left right along with him. In the silence he left behind, Amara stood up. And she walked slowly across that whole room, past the wealth, past the shame, past her own mother. Straight to the hawker. "You disappeared on me," she said, her eyes full. "I had nothing left to offer you," he answered. "You never did have anything," she said, and she smiled through her tears. "And I never, ever cared." And her mother, the woman who always had something to say about everything, for the first time in her entire life said absolutely nothing. She just looked at the young man who had lost everything and still come back with the truth. Then she said quietly, "This one has courage and a true heart, and that, my daughter, is its own kind of wealth. Now I will not lie to you. It was not the end of the hard part. David still had to rebuild from nothing all over again. But this time he was not doing it alone. Amara stood beside him. She helped him find a small place and open the shop. The very shop with the very name he had scribbled in that notebook all those years ago in traffic. And on opening day, David stood under his own sign with his own name above the door, and for the first time in his life he was not ashamed of it. Chindu naturally appointed himself the general manager. Of what exactly, nobody could say, but he had printed cards. Beautiful cards, and he gave one to everybody, customers, strangers, and even the people who already worked in the shop, especially them, but the shop did well. 1 stall became 2, 2 became a name that people in the market trusted. And slowly, that family name, the one that had meant failure, came to mean something good again. And then, finally, came the owambe that all of Lagos had been waiting for, the wedding. A owambe as far as the eye could see. Jollof rice cooked in pots big enough to swim in. Enough to feed 1,000 hungry guests and still send everybody home with a cooler. Music that shook the walls. And an uncle somewhere spraying crisp naira notes like it was falling rain. Chindu, of course, cried more than the bride herself. "I made this love," he sobbed, "to a complete stranger. With my own 2 bare hands. And they married. The sharp corporate girl and the hawker who refused to give up. From a bus window all the way to the altar." Even her mother danced that day. And she could not for the life of her stop smiling. The years went by the way years do. And one ordinary afternoon, a husband and a wife found themselves driving through Lagos. And the traffic, as always, was terrible. The same go-slow, the same yellow buses, the same 1 inch forward every 5 minutes. And from the back seat, their children asked the question they always asked. "Mummy, Daddy, how did the 2 of you really meet?" And Amara would just smile and point out of the window at all that endless traffic. And she would say, "Right here, in a go-slow exactly like this one, through the window of a danfo bus." And then she would laugh and add, now, before anybody answers, "Does anyone in this car have change? The traffic that every Lagosian wakes up and prays against. The thing we all curse every single morning. That same traffic gave the 2 of them everything they ever had." So the next time you're stuck in go-slow, going absolutely nowhere, look out of your window. Because some go-slows are worth the wait.